Today, we will talk more about Stellar and its involvement in the quantum financial system related to how I have shown its involvement in the APFII platform that has direct ties into the UN and SWIFT. And today I will be talking more about the price potentials of XLM. But before that, I want to just reiterate how everything I have talked about involving APFII has been put out there in the past. Here, from October of 2017, we have an announcement that Stellar partnered with IBM and ClickX, which was also talked about on that same day by Stellar. Crypto Night connected that in November of 2017 to some tweets put out by Robert Bell, who is the individual who created ClickX and who is in charge of APFII. And here we're talking about connections into the G20 central banks. In 2018, we have an article about IBM, ClickX, Deloitte, Parkway Projects, and Tempo using Stellar for real-world adoption with XLM. And in 2018, Robert Bell of ClickX talked about the future of the monetary system alongside Stellar and IBM. In 2023, ClickX Pacific and SP announced a partnership to enable Samoans abroad to send money home from Australia and New Zealand, which were the two largest economies connected into APFII. In 2024, we have an article about new lower cost remittance providers like that one I can't pronounce and ClickX have quickly grown in popularity among temporary migrant workers. And here from March 19th of 2024, we have Goldman Sachs, head of digital assets, talking about how the future is on public blockchains, which is exactly how I think and how the evidence and connections relate to how Stellar will be involved in quote-unquote QFS. Here is the account that was directly called out on the APFII site, which shows all of the activity in regards to payments in XLM that happened in between March 8th of 2021 and January 10th of 2022. It had a total of 2.5 million transactions. And in this Excel sheet, I have taken the amount I could actually pull out of the Explorer without crashing it, and the average price of XLM during that period in time of just about 34 cents to try to estimate how much what was actually transacted on the APFII platform. And it came out to about $5.4 million that went through just about 3/4 of the total circulating supply of XLM at that time. And because we are talking about how Stellar and XLM will be the public-facing component of the QFS, which has XLM as the common bridge currency, I put together calculations to show just how valuable XLM could be. And how I did that is I took the GDP of all of the countries that were in the APFII pilot and all of the countries in the G77 group of 134 countries at this point. And I found the 2021 GDP of all these countries, but I also found the global GDP in order to expand and show where we are headed in my interpretation. And I have all of it here. So as far as our APFII pilot goes, if you apply the same burn rate theory that Lois Jackson talked about in regard to XRP to XLM, the 2021 APFII pilot in and of itself would equate to an XLM price of about $1.39, which is about a 10x from our current price. And just to explain how these calculations work, it is pretty much a ratio between the USD volume transacted and XLM volume transacted, but with the amount of XLM burned taken out. So in our example here, I was able to find all of that information required about XLM through a combination of Stellar Explorer sites to calculate what that price was. In our G77 country example, the increase in the GDP, as well as assuming about 5 billion XLM are used every day, would result in an XLM price of about $19.08. And to expand it even more, with our 2021 GDP values of about 89 trillion, that would increase the price of XLM up to about $49.12. And if we go even farther and extrapolate the global GDP into 2024, which I did here by just finding what the average percent growth was year over year and just expanding it out in between 2023 and 2030. And the 97 trillion GDP with the same amount of daily XLM traded came out to an XLM price of $53.49. And if you take that a bit further and extrapolate GDP growth out to 2030, which is about 115 trillion, that would equate to an XLM price of $63.14. And even though all of these calculations are high, it still probably is not high enough because it does not take into effect the amount of XLM that will be purchased and locked up to be used by all of these. And that is important because it will create a stronger and more expensive XLM on public exchanges because it is taking away the available supply of XLM while also having an ever increasing demand. And I am trying to put together some kind of an algorithm that can actually replicate that. But at this time, I'm just not sure how to put that kind of a complicated calculation into an Excel sheet to try to estimate all factors involved. But at the end of the day, I think that at some point, that is probably not too far away, we can be talking about a price of XLM that is hundreds of times higher than it is right now.